If a man truly misses you, you won't need to interrogate his feelings or decode mixed signals like a puzzle missing half the pieces. You won't find yourself staring at your phone, wondering what his silence means or whether you imagined the connection. Because when a man misses you, his absence doesn't feel distant. It feels intentional, temporary, and filled with quiet movement back toward you. And the most powerful part is this: he often does it without saying a single word. Missing you changes how he behaves when no one is watching. It shows up in consistency. Not grand declarations, not dramatic confessions, but a steady presence that doesn't fade when life gets busy. He doesn't disappear and resurface with excuses. He stays connected. He checks in. He maintains the thread between you, even when there's nothing urgent to say. Because when you matter, the connection matters. You'll notice that his energy moves toward you, not away from you. He doesn't make you chase clarity. He doesn't leave you guessing where you stand. Even without saying, "I miss you," his actions say, "You're still here with me." He responds, he engages. He shows up emotionally in small, reliable ways that make you feel grounded rather than anxious. When a man misses you, he finds reasons to be present in your world. He doesn't wait for perfect timing. He doesn't need a big event as an excuse. He'll share something that reminded him of you. He'll ask about your day and actually listen to the answer. He'll remember things you mentioned weeks ago and bring them back into conversation, not to impress you, but because they stayed with him. Effort in this space doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. He's not calculating how little he can do and still keep you interested. He's simply responding to how he feels. And that's an important distinction, because when someone genuinely misses you, effort stops being a strategy and starts being a reflex. You'll also notice a quiet form of pursuit, not pressure, not intensity, just steadiness. He doesn't go silent for days and then act like nothing happened. He keeps the rhythm alive, and in doing so, he sends a message without words. I don't want distance to grow between us. He pays attention, not just to what you say, but to who you are. Your moods, your patterns, your boundaries. Missing you sharpens his awareness rather than dulling it. And because of that, being connected to him feels easier, not heavier. Time becomes something he offers willingly. Even if his schedule is full, he makes space. Not because you demanded it, but because you're part of his priority list. You don't feel like you're borrowing time from his life. You feel included in it. And perhaps the most telling sign of all is how his behavior makes you feel. When a man truly misses you, you feel calm, secure, seen, not confused, not anxious, not questioning your worth. Because real interest doesn't create chaos. It creates clarity. So if you ever wonder whether a man misses you, don't listen only for the words. Watch the patterns. Watch the consistency. Watch the way he moves toward you without being asked. Because when a man misses you, his actions will say it long before his lips ever do. When a man truly misses you, the most reliable evidence is not found in emotional speeches or dramatic gestures, but in consistency. Consistency is the quiet language of genuine feeling. It shows up in the way he maintains contact even when life is busy, stressful, or inconvenient. He doesn't disappear for days and then return with elaborate explanations. Instead, he keeps the connection alive in small but steady ways, because when someone matters to him, staying connected doesn't feel like effort, it feels necessary. Missing you means you remain present in his mind even when you're not physically there. That presence naturally influences his behavior. He checks in, not because he feels obligated, but because you cross his thoughts. He responds when you reach out instead of leaving messages unanswered. Even brief interactions carry warmth and intention. This kind of consistency isn't loud, but it's deeply reassuring because it removes the guesswork. You're not left wondering where you stand or whether his interest has faded. Excuses are another important contrast. When a man is inconsistent, he often explains absence with reasons that sound logical on the surface, but don't align with his overall behavior. He may say he's busy, overwhelmed, or distracted, yet somehow still finds time for everything else. When a man misses you, excuses lose their power. He may still be busy, but he doesn't use busyness as a reason to disconnect. Even during demanding periods, he finds a moment to stay in touch because consistency is not about quantity, it's about reliability. Consistency also creates emotional safety. You don't feel like you have to earn his attention or compete for his time. You don't adjust your expectations downward just to avoid disappointment. His steady presence communicates respect, interest, and care without needing reassurance. This is especially important because genuine missing isn't just about longing, it's about valuing the connection enough to protect it from fading. Another key element of consistency is predictability, not in a boring sense, but in an emotionally grounding way. You know that if you reach out, he won't vanish. You know that his tone won't suddenly shift from warm to cold without explanation. This predictability builds trust because emotional interest that comes and goes creates anxiety, while emotional interest that stays steady creates calm. When a man misses you, his consistency reflects emotional maturity. He doesn't rely on intensity followed by silence. He doesn't confuse distance with mystery. Instead, his behavior quietly says that you matter enough to remain present, attentive, and engaged, even when no one is asking him to prove it. When a man genuinely misses you, his actions naturally move toward you rather than away from you. This movement isn't always dramatic or obvious, but it is consistent and intentional. Instead of creating distance, he closes it. Instead of pulling back emotionally, he leans in. You can feel this shift not because he announces it, but because his behavior makes connection easier instead of harder. There is less resistance, fewer mixed signals, and a noticeable effort to stay aligned with you. Movement toward you shows up in responsiveness. He doesn't leave messages hanging for long periods without explanation. When you reach out, he meets you there. His replies don't feel rushed or obligatory, and they don't come only when it's convenient for him. Even if he can't talk at length, he acknowledges you. That acknowledgement matters because it communicates presence. It says that you're still on his mind, even when he's busy doing other things. You'll also notice that he doesn't create emotional barriers. A man who isn't truly missing you often keeps things vague. He avoids deeper conversations, deflects personal topics, or keeps the interaction surface level. But when a man misses you, he allows emotional closeness. He asks questions that show curiosity about your inner world. He remembers what you share and builds on it. His interest doesn't feel casual or detached. It feels directed and personal. Another sign of moving toward you is initiative. He doesn't always wait for you to start conversations or suggest plans. He reaches out first at times. He looks for opportunities to reconnect, whether that's through a message, a call, or making plans to see you again. This initiative isn't aggressive or overwhelming, but it's steady. It reflects a desire to reduce distance rather than maintain it. Importantly, this movement also shows up in clarity. When a man moves toward you, he doesn't leave you in emotional limbo. He doesn't keep you guessing about his intentions or feelings through inconsistent behavior. His actions line up over time, creating a sense of direction rather than confusion. You may not have all the answers yet, but you don't feel lost or uncertain about whether he wants to stay connected. Moving toward you also means he doesn't disappear when things feel emotionally vulnerable. If a meaningful conversation arises, he doesn't shut down or retreat. Instead, he stays engaged. He may not always have perfect words, but he doesn't withdraw. That willingness to remain present during emotional moments is a strong indicator of genuine missing, because it shows he values the connection enough to stay close even when it feels uncomfortable. Ultimately, when a man misses you, his behavior gently but consistently reduces the space between you. You don't feel like you're chasing him, convincing him, or pulling him closer. His actions naturally drift toward you, creating a sense of mutual connection and emotional alignment. When a man truly misses you, he doesn't wait for perfect circumstances or formal invitations to reconnect with you. He creates reasons to be present in your world. This doesn't always mean grand plans or dramatic gestures, but it does mean he looks for opportunities, however small, to step back into your space. His desire to feel close to you shows up in the way he inserts himself into your daily rhythm rather than staying on the sidelines. You may notice that he reaches out with simple, seemingly casual messages. not because he has something important to say, but because he wants a reason to connect. He might share something that reminded him of you, comment on something you mentioned before, or ask a question that continues an earlier conversation. These moments aren't random. They reflect that you occupy mental and emotional space for him, and that he feels drawn to re-enter that space rather than remain distant. Being present in your world also means he shows interest in the details of your life. He asks about your day, your work, your challenges, and your small wins, and he actually listens to the answers. When you speak, he doesn't rush to change the subject or bring the focus back to himself. Instead, he stays engaged, because knowing what's happening in your life helps him feel connected to you even when you're apart. Another way this presence shows up is through follow-through. If he says he'll check in later, he does. If he mentions calling or meeting, he makes an effort to make it happen. This reliability isn't about perfection, it's about intention. When a man misses you, staying involved feels more important than convenience. He doesn't let opportunities to connect slip away casually because those moments matter to him. Creating reasons to be present also means he doesn't limit connection to one narrow channel. He may vary how he reaches out, sometimes through messages, sometimes through calls, sometimes by suggesting time together. This variety reflects a desire for real interaction, not just minimal contact. He wants to experience you, not just keep you at a distance. You might also notice that he includes you in his thoughts about the future, even in small ways. He references things you might enjoy, mentions events or ideas that involve you, or speaks in a way that subtly includes you in his plans. This doesn't have to be explicit or serious, but it shows that he sees you as part of his ongoing life, not just a passing moment. When a man misses you, presence becomes a priority. He doesn't wait for you to pull him in or remind him you exist. He actively looks for reasons to step closer, stay connected, and remain involved in your world in ways that feel natural and sincere. When a man genuinely misses you, effort stops feeling like something he has to think about and starts feeling like something that happens naturally. There is a noticeable ease to the way he shows up. He isn't weighing every message, calculating how long to wait before responding, or wondering whether reaching out will give him some kind of disadvantage. His actions flow from emotion rather than strategy, and that difference is powerful. Natural effort shows up in the small, consistent ways he engages with you. He responds without being prompted. He follows through without being reminded. He checks in because he wants to, not because he feels he should. These behaviors don't come with dramatic build-up or self-congratulation. They simply exist as part of how he interacts with you. When someone misses you, staying connected feels good, not burdensome. You'll also notice that his effort doesn't fluctuate wildly. It doesn't spike with intensity one day and disappear the next. Instead, it maintains a steady rhythm that feels reliable. This steadiness is important because forced effort often burns out quickly, while natural effort sustains itself. A man who truly misses you doesn't need external pressure to stay engaged because the motivation comes from within. Another sign of natural effort is emotional availability. He doesn't shut down when conversations deepen or when feelings are expressed. He may not always have perfect words, but he stays present. He listens. He responds thoughtfully. This kind of engagement takes energy, yet when feelings are real, that energy doesn't feel draining, it feels worthwhile. Natural effort also means he doesn't make you feel like you're asking for too much. You're not negotiating for basic communication or attention. You don't feel guilty for wanting consistency or clarity. His willingness to show up makes those needs feel normal rather than excessive. That alone creates a sense of emotional safety because you're not constantly monitoring how much space you're allowed to take up. You may also notice that his effort aligns with respect. He respects your time, your boundaries, and your emotions. He doesn't ignore you and then expect instant access later. He doesn't disappear and reappear without acknowledgement. These respectful behaviors aren't forced, they're a natural extension of valuing you. When a man misses you, respect becomes instinctive. Perhaps the most telling aspect of natural effort is that it feels calm. There's no sense of chasing, proving, or convincing. His actions speak quietly but clearly. You don't have to decode mixed signals or fill in emotional gaps. His presence feels steady and reassuring because it's driven by genuine desire rather than obligation or fear of loss. When a man truly misses you, silence no longer feels like a comfortable option for him. He may not always express his feelings verbally, but his behavior replaces absence with subtle, steady pursuit. This pursuit isn't loud or overwhelming. It doesn't come with pressure or dramatic gestures. Instead, it shows up in the quiet ways he keeps the connection alive, ensuring that distance never fully settles between you, rather than going long periods without contact. He maintains a gentle rhythm of communication. He may send a short message, share a thought, or check in briefly, not to fill space, but to prevent emotional distance from growing. These moments might seem simple, but they are intentional. They signal that even when he has nothing urgent to say, he still wants to stay connected to you. This steady pursuit is especially clear in how he handles gaps in communication. If there is a pause, he doesn't let it stretch indefinitely. He circles back. He acknowledges time apart instead of pretending it didn't happen. This shows awareness and care. A man who doesn't miss you often allows silence to grow because there's no internal pull to reconnect. A man who does miss you feels that pull and responds to it. You'll also notice that his pursuit respects your space. He doesn't bombard you with messages or demand constant attention. Instead, he checks in with warmth and consideration. This balance is important because it reflects emotional confidence. He's not trying to control the connection. He's simply nurturing it. That kind of pursuit feels safe rather than suffocating. Another sign is that he stays emotionally present even when communication is brief. His messages carry intention. He references things you've shared before. He responds thoughtfully rather than mechanically. This depth shows that his interest hasn't gone dormant during moments of quiet. Silence hasn't erased you from his awareness. It has only made him more conscious of wanting to reconnect. Steady pursuit also shows up in consistency over time. He doesn't reach out only when it suits him or when he feels lonely. He keeps the connection alive even when his life is full. This reliability communicates that missing you isn't a fleeting emotion, it's an ongoing awareness of your absence. Perhaps the most meaningful aspect of this behavior is how it makes you feel. You don't feel forgotten. You don't feel like you're waiting in limbo. Even in moments of quiet, there is a sense of continuity, as if the connection is paused but never dropped. His subtle pursuit replaces silence with reassurance, creating a steady emotional thread that keeps you connected, even without words. When a man truly misses you, his attention sharpens in ways that go beyond surface-level interest, and this is often revealed through how deeply he notices the small details about you. These details might seem insignificant on their own, but together they form a clear picture of emotional investment. Missing you doesn't just make him think about you in general, it makes him think about who you are, how you feel, and what matters to you. You'll notice this in the way he remembers things you mentioned casually, perhaps days or even weeks ago. A preference you shared in passing, a concern you opened up about briefly, or a story you didn't emphasize suddenly comes back in conversation. He brings it up naturally, without needing reminders. This kind of memory isn't accidental. It happens because when someone misses you, their mind keeps returning to you, replaying moments and conversations that made an impression. Paying attention to small details also shows up in emotional awareness. He notices shifts in your tone, your mood, or your energy. If something feels off, he senses it. He may ask if you're okay or adjust how he interacts with you. This sensitivity comes from care, not obligation. When a man misses you, he becomes more attuned to your emotional state because your feelings matter to him. Another important sign is how he responds to your needs. He doesn't dismiss them or minimize them. If you express discomfort, excitement, or hesitation, he takes it seriously. He adapts his behavior accordingly, often without needing to be asked twice. This responsiveness reflects respect, and respect is a natural extension of missing someone deeply. You may also notice that he remembers meaningful dates, routines, or patterns in your life. He asks about something important that was coming up for you. He follows up on conversations that had emotional weight. These actions show that he doesn't just listen, he retains and values what you share. When someone misses you, Staying connected to your world becomes important even in your absence. Paying attention to details also means he avoids careless behavior that could hurt or alienate you. He's more mindful of his words and actions. He considers how things might affect you before acting. This thoughtfulness isn't forced, it's instinctive. Missing you makes him more careful with the connection because he doesn't want to risk losing it. Ultimately, noticing the small details is a quiet but powerful form of presence. It tells you that even when you're not together, you're not forgotten. You exist in his thoughts in a real and specific way, not as an idea, but as a person he cares about deeply and intentionally. When a man genuinely misses you, time stops being something he guards closely and starts becoming something he willingly offers. This shift is subtle but powerful. He no longer treats time with you as something to squeeze in only when everything else is done. Instead, he makes room for you within his schedule because being connected to you feels important, not optional. You'll notice this in how he prioritizes moments with you, even when his life is full. He may have work responsibilities, social commitments, or personal goals, but he doesn't use those as reasons to disappear. He finds pockets of time to talk, to check in, or to spend time together. These moments might not always be long, but they are intentional. Offering time becomes his way of staying close, even when circumstances aren't ideal. Another sign is flexibility. A man who misses you is often willing to adjust his plans to create space for you. He doesn't rigidly protect his schedule or act inconvenienced by your presence in it. If something matters to you, he considers it. If an opportunity to connect arises, he's open to it. This flexibility shows that time with you holds emotional value, not just logistical possibility. You may also notice that he becomes more present during the time you do share. He's not distracted or half engaged. He listens. He responds thoughtfully. He stays mentally and emotionally available rather than treating the interaction as something to rush through. This presence matters because offering time isn't just about duration, it's about quality. When a man misses you, the moments you share feel focused and real. Time offered willingly also shows up in follow-through. If he suggests a call, a meeting, or a plan, he works to make it happen. He doesn't leave plans vague or endlessly postponed. He respects your time as much as his own because he understands that time is one of the most meaningful ways to show care. Importantly, this doesn't mean he abandons his responsibilities or gives up his independence. Instead, it means he integrates you into his life in a natural way. You're not an afterthought, and you're not competing for attention. You simply belong in his schedule because you belong in his emotional world. When time becomes something he offers rather than withholds, it creates a sense of ease. You don't feel like you're asking for scraps or waiting to be chosen. His willingness to share time communicates desire, value, and intention without needing to be spoken aloud. When a man genuinely misses you, time stops being something he guards closely and starts becoming something he willingly offers. This shift is subtle but powerful. He no longer treats time with you as something to squeeze in only when everything else is done. Instead, he makes room for you within his schedule because being connected to you feels important, not optional. You'll notice this in how he prioritizes moments with you, even when his life is full. He may have work responsibilities, social commitments, or personal goals, but he doesn't use those as reasons to disappear. He finds pockets of time to talk, to check in, or to spend time together. These moments might not always be long, but they are intentional. Offering time becomes his way of staying close, even when circumstances aren't ideal. Another sign is flexibility. A man who misses you is often willing to adjust his plans to create space for you. He doesn't rigidly protect his schedule or act inconvenienced by your presence in it. If something matters to you, he considers it. If an opportunity to connect arises, he's open to it. This flexibility shows that time with you holds emotional value, not just logistical possibility. You may also notice that he becomes more present during the time you do share. He's not distracted or half engaged. He listens. He responds thoughtfully. He stays mentally and emotionally available rather than treating the interaction as something to rush through. This presence matters because offering time isn't just about duration, it's about quality. When a man misses you, the moments you share feel focused and real. Time offered willingly also shows up in follow-through. If he suggests a call, a meeting, or a plan, he works to make it happen. He doesn't leave plans vague or endlessly postponed. He respects your time as much as his own, because he understands that time is one of the most meaningful ways to show care. Importantly, this doesn't mean he abandons his responsibilities or gives up his independence. Instead, it means he integrates why into his life in a natural way. You're not an afterthought, and you're not competing for attention. You simply belong in his schedule because you belong in his emotional world. When time becomes something he offers rather than withholds, it creates a sense of ease. You don't feel like you're asking for scraps or waiting to be chosen. His willingness to share time communicates desire, value, and intention without needing to be spoken aloud. When a man truly misses you, his behavior doesn't leave you feeling unsettled or unsure. It brings a sense of calm rather than confusion. This is one of the clearest signs of genuine emotional interest because real care naturally reduces anxiety instead of creating it. You don't find yourself overanalyzing every interaction or questioning where you stand because his actions quietly reassure you without needing constant clarification. Calm comes from consistency in how he shows up emotionally. His words and actions align over time, which means you're not receiving mixed signals that pull you in opposite directions. He doesn't act deeply interested one moment and distant the next. Instead, there's a steady tone to his engagement that feels predictable in a healthy way. This predictability allows you to relax into the connection rather than remain on edge, waiting for the next shift. When a man misses you, you also feel emotionally safe expressing yourself. You don't worry that honesty will push him away or that vulnerability will be met with silence. He may not always have perfect responses, but he remains present and respectful. That presence alone creates calm because you're not carrying the emotional weight of the connection by yourself. You're not guessing how much is too much or shrinking yourself to maintain peace. Another important aspect is how his behavior simplifies your emotional experience. Instead of feeling like you need to chase reassurance, his actions offer it naturally. You don't feel the urge to test his interest or seek validation elsewhere. His engagement answers the unspoken questions before they grow into doubts. This is what separates genuine missing from temporary attention. One creates stability, the other creates emotional noise. Confusion often comes from inconsistency, distance, or unclear intentions. When those elements are absent, calm naturally takes their place. A man who misses you doesn't keep you in limbo. Even if the relationship isn't fully defined yet, you still feel a sense of direction. His actions suggest that the connection matters and is moving somewhere, even if slowly. Calm also shows up in how you feel about yourself around him. You don't feel like you're competing, proving your worth, or adjusting your behavior to keep his attention. His steady interest allows you to show up as you are,